Howdy everyone, it's me once again, the one and only Killer Dan. Alright then, I just went to the movie theaters again, quite obviously, which is something I've been doing quite often. I review movies anyway on this channel. Anyway, so here we go, I reckon. Even though most of the time I'm reviewing old movies, but anyway, I figured I would talk about the more recent adaptation, more recent version of Superman from the one director James, I guess. I thought I'd just do this because, well, I just want to give this a try, even though the previous DC movies were rather lackluster. And this is an attempt to kind of just start anew, so to speak, to kind of start fresh. I just do a separate expanded universe when it comes to these characters, I guess. Because the previous films weren't really well received from critics. And yes, I'm fully aware of the controversy among the Zack Snyder fans because I know the vast majority of them pretty much view Zack Snyder as this god-like director and whatnot, and they were just shitting on this film and whatnot. But yeah, I'm aware. I'm aware. I'm aware. Before anyone says anything, yes, I'm aware of what has been going on prior to the film's release and whatnot. There's just so much heat and just so much controversy. And I was kind of like, okay, why didn't I talk about this? Why didn't I have a few videos or so to discuss this? Well, simply put, I just no, just no. I had no reason really. I just didn't feel like it. I didn't care really. I was completely indifferent about the entire thing because you're gonna get some toxic fans no matter what anyway, even if the films were halfway okay. And personally speaking, I think Supergirl and Harley Quinn should have been a couple. That's my hot take, and I'm not changing that either. So if anyone gets offended, just whatever. I ain't changing that. Anyway, so of course, as always, let's talk about the plot, shall we? So here we go. At least in this version of Lex Luthor, he's of course going to be this maniac, quite obviously, and he does not like the fact that Superman stands for justice and whatnot, like how he was typically. So Lex Luthor is again the main villain, like he typically is when it comes to Superman stories. So I guess that's a given. But anyway, yeah, Superman starts off right in the beginning. We see that he's already been established in this world. So his whole origin story, it kind of gets skipped over in some ways because we already know how it is. We know how what happens. He's from a different planet. He's from Krypton. His home gets blown up. His parents left a message. Blah 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 blah. He's in this during his I guess his youth. He was raised in this farm. Blah 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 blah. So on and so forth. And of course, the farmers are like these nicest, sweetest, most compassionate people imaginable. Blah 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 blah. They instilled this more system into Superman, Clark Kent, and all that. Yada 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 yada. We all familiar with this, so it kind of skims over that quite a bit. So there's that, I reckon. But okay, and yes, this film makes it clear that Superman, well, this version of Superman anyway, has been on Earth for quite some time already. Well, at least enough. Even if it's just like what, maybe a few years or so, he's been on Earth enough. But even then, the people of Earth aren't really trusting of him. Quite clearly, they're still really iffy because he's an alien. He's from a different land and whatnot, which just does come into play. By the way, more on that in a bit. But anyway, Lex Luthor basically what he wants to do. Yeah, this bald-headed bastard, pretty much, just wants to do like this smear campaign against Superman. He's really weird. This individual, he's not from my land. He's not from your land. Why should we trust him? He's not like us. He's not like you. He can't be trusted. And then top of that, he has all these amazing powers. He's incredibly strong. He's the strongest being in existence on Earth. So how can you trust him? He's a foreigner, and so on and so forth. And speaking of which, I mean, there was a whole thing where Superman actually single-handedly stopped the war because he's that powerful and whatnot. And yeah, it's somewhere. He's not in America, obviously, but some in some foreign land. He's stopped this war and whatnot. And of course, Les Luthor uses this as a clutch against Superman because he's trying to twist it around. He's trying to manipulate the public's perspective because he's trying to make it as if Superman, if he's this powerful to do this, he can do whatever he wants. He can run amok. He can just do whatever he wants. And us, the American people, would be completely powerless because he's too damn powerful. What it means to be American, what it means to live in this land, and all that jazz, is threatened by this powerful being that's from a different land. He must be stopped at no matter what the cost is. He must be taken care of because he's a threat to the United States of America. This foreigner, if he could go to other foreign place and stop the fighting, does this mean he could do that to us? Absolutely. Why he's trying to manipulate the. Oh yeah, which reminds me of that. There are some group of people who would get mistreated just for looking different. So yeah, how religious people mistreat these people just for looking different. Gee, I wonder how that feels like. I remember that. Anyway, like I was saying, that's basically what Les Luthor is trying to do with the character Superman. Of course, the character of Les Luthor, he's going to have a lot of money. He has a lot of connections. Quite clearly, he's almost the exact opposite of what Superman is. Trying to have a sense of hope, trying to have a sense of dignity and what it means to be human and whatnot, and try to just figure out things out quite clearly. Yes, quite clearly the public's perspective on Superman is rough, and Superman's trying to navigate through all this negativity while I'm trying to fight off the criminals, the bad people, I guess you can say. This is definitely a good versus evil type of story with Superman, so of course that's going to happen and whatnot. And yes, Les Luthor can try everything in his power to make sure that Superman gets killed off somehow in some kind of fashion so he can reign supreme because he's trying to represent what America is, what it means to be an American, and because according to him, he's trying to find what it means to be American because he knows it all. But I'll just leave it at that. I mean, I know I'm kind of just glancing over a lot of stuff here. It's yes, I know I realize that, and I'm not being super specific. Not really. I mean, I could go and give more examples of what the story is about in certain moments throughout the feature, but I'll just leave it like that because I don't want to spoil too much. Really, I just trying to give you the general idea what's going on here. But yeah, some people might wonder how does it hold up against other Superman titles. I guess I believe structurally speaking, it is better than Man of Steel because one of the many issues I have with Man of Steel is that pacing is horrible. The plot structure is really disjointed. So this new Superman film does have a much better structured plot when it comes to the beginning, middle, and end. So the movie, the new one, flows way more, I guess, smoothly. Of course, it's not that the new Superman movie doesn't have any flaws that could easily point out, but structurally speaking, it is an improvement over Man of Steel. I can give it that. The pacing is much better, quite clearly. Another thing is that Man of Steel, another problem I have with Man of Steel, there was no real sense of hope. Not really. Even if there was, it's overshadowed by the gloomy darkness and whatnot. I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't mind if Superman movies are dark and gloomy. I'm fine with that. It's just I don't want it just to be there just for its own sake. Man of Steel just came off overly depressing, just to be depressing, just for its own sake. It came off so gloomy, and I remember leaving the movie theater so down. Like, okay, what's the meaning of this? Why? Why doesn't it this? Why? Why any of this? Anyway, then for the new movie and the new Superman film, it came off way more hopeful, way more upbeat, I mean, yes, it has gloomy moments, of course, and it has its fairly dark moments here and there. I can say that, and whatnot. I like that. I definitely like it. It does still had a sense of hope. It still had a sense of like there's still a chance, no matter what you're going through. There's still a chance of what you make I can actually do. There's still a sense of good stuff despite the negativity around you. I like that. You're trying to find a negative and navigate through all of that. That was good. I definitely say that. The action sequences are really good. I like the action sequences. There's plenty of destruction scenes. Of course, I want to see destruction scenes. Of course, I want to see shit to get destroyed. Want to see shit get smashed up and whatnot. I like that. I like stuff like that. I mean, even in a superhero comic book movie, I like to see shit get smashed up and destroyed and all that jazz. That's really cool to me. I like that stuff. I like stuff like that. I'm all for it. And yeah. Oh yeah, and for the foreigner type thing was referring to earlier, yeah, I know this also created a lot of controversy even before the film's wide release, I guess. Well, because
We don't go to the movie theater to be lectured to and to have somebody throw their ideology onto us. I wonder if it'll
you realize that Superman is literally a an alien from a different planet. He's literally an immigrant.
be successful.
You know what it says on his cape? MS-13.
What the fuck are you talking about? No, seriously, what the fuck are you talking about? What?
Wow.
Is it superimposed or it actually says that?
I know I would typically save this kind of thing for separate videos, and yeah, I probably should have. But yeah, just this entire thing is really stupid. I'm aware of this whole controversy from Fox News, typically from these conservative Christians. Yes, I'm fully aware of this. I've heard all this nonsense that has gone woke and whatnot, despite the fact that Superman himself was literally created by these two Jewish people way back in the 1930s. And there were numbers of times where Superman fought the KKK and whatnot because this America is supposed to be for everybody. And yes, he would even fight off against Hitler, quite clearly with comics books surrounding that. And yes, of course, stuff like that. And he would tell the other characters that it's America, it's a cesspool of different type of people, so on and so forth. This kind of thing is nothing new. Yes, Superman may be an outsider, and yes, he's from a different planet. Yes, he's from a different land, and so on and so forth. I mean, I don't want to be too much on this because this just clearly tells you that Fox News does not do any research. I mean, that's like no shit, Sherlock. And just find it astoundingly, that's just find it astounding that people actually kiss their asses and actually accept what they're saying as fact when it's quite obviously bogus and whatnot. Yes, politics has been a thing with Superman since the beginning. Politics was always there in the very beginning and whatnot. So I don't understand how they don't understand that this has been a thing since the very get go. I do not get it. It's weird. It's weird. Just like they assume that his son got enlightened all of a sudden. And yes, the vast majority of this controversy it's because of the immigrant kind of a thing. Superman himself is literally an immigrant. He came from a different planet and whatnot. And okay, and yes, I get you to say Superman could be used as a metaphor, like an allegory for like people who are different, I guess. But that's fine when you think about it. But whatever. I think these people just missed the point. The people just missed the whole point of the movie, really. Yes, I do understand that this is supposed to be a start for a brand new expanded universe, but it does feel a bit more. It doesn't feel more like it's going in the correct direction in the right way. The movie doesn't have to sacrifice its title character in service for this franchise guess kind of thing. So it does value and celebrate this what Superman himself has to be embodied from the very beginning. I mean, yes, there are plenty of other ways you can do this. I mean, yes, this is start for a new franchise, of course. This is intended to be for a new expanded universe, which in itself is fine. I got no issues with that really. I just wish that they could have done a bit more better job with Zack Snyder's Man of Steel. And yeah, I mean, yes, there's plenty of different ways you can have the movies celebrate Superman, what he means to be, what hope he means to be. I mean, yes, I understand this is not the only way to do it. I mean, yes, there are better stories that have done this better. Sure, in the comics, I get that. I'm trying to compare when it comes to movie version, of course. And yes, obviously, there's a multitude of different ways you can express the same idea, which I understand quite clearly. But for what it's worth, this does a better job, like I was telling you earlier, compared to Man of Steel. This is a better origin story than Man of Steel, as far as I'm concerned. And I know the Zack Snyder fan base, fanboys, what do you call it, are not happy that this is getting well received in the box office, at least from most critics anyway. It's getting well received. I know this bothers them quite a bit, but anyway, I'm not trying to be focusing on too much on that. I'm not really, but I do know that's going to be a common thing even from this point forward. I'm just putting that out there. I just think that this is definitely comes off more of a up inspiring, more helpful kind of thing. And yes, there's the whole thing with the Justice League, of course. And sword members do show up in the movie and whatnot. No, there are some jokes in here. There was some humor in this movie, quite clearly. And but the jokes never felt forced. They never felt lackluster. They never felt like it's just been shoved in there just to do it. It's never felt like they're just there to do it. Quite clearly. I do like how there's a natural flow when it comes to the jokes and whatnot. It's there, but it's not overly done. Quite clear. And yes, there's quite a bit of swearing in here, folks. I don't know if that seems oddly specific, yeah, but there is swearing up in here quite clearly. However, I'm just putting that out there because I know there's a lot of parents out there that will get all uppity because of that. Oh no, they say some no words. How dare you? I mean, that's just so stupid. I know people, there will be parents out there complaining about that kind of a thing. It's whatever. Okay, it's whatever. I don't mind the swearing. It doesn't bother me whatsoever. And I mean, you can have some swearing in the story, and make sure that it goes with the flow, and don't just throw it in there just to do it. That's like the only time I will criticize swearing in a story if it's just thrown in there just to do it. It makes it general violent if you do that. But anyway, the thing is that nevertheless, it's fine. The movie Star was born, even though I'm not really a comic book fan, superhero fan, like when it comes to comic movies at all. It's not my cup of tea, all right, folks. It really isn't. I know I've reviewed a shit ton of superhero type movies oddly enough. I did realize that. But okay. I had no expectations, okay? I had like zero expectations for this movie, like whatsoever. My attitude coming into this, I'm like, whatever, okay? I was so indifferent. I was like, whatever. Whatever gets what I get is what I get. It couldn't be any worse than what was already given. That's what I thought. It could not even be any worse than what I've already watched from the previous Superman movies. And no, that's my thought. It could not be, even if it was bad, even if it bombed, it could not be any worse than what I already saw. So I just accepted that. Okay, what I see, what I see. What I get is what I get. But anyway, I'm just want to give you what I had in mind. I'm just going to give you what I had in mind. That was all really. But anyway, I'll give this film an overall rating of a 7.0 out of 10. It's a 7.0 out of 10 for me. It's not perfect by any means, but it's definitely a lot better than Man of Steel. So that's something, I guess. So anyway, until next time, I guess, folks. Thanks for watching. See ya. Oh yeah. Until next time. Oh definitely. Oh yeah.